Does Chelsea now have what it takes to challenge or even win the Premier League, to go further in the Champions League, or even win it? Of course, after that wonderful performance against PSG, where Chelsea defeated the Parisians 3-0, courtesy of clinical finishes from Cole Palmer and João Pedro, wonderful saves from Robert Sanchez, and relentless runs from every single Chelsea player on the pitch. Chelsea are now in a good position to brag. But what lies ahead of them? What can they do of this recent prestige they have? Do they have what it takes uh, to dominate Europe or the Premier League next season? Let us discuss that together. My name is Wilbur, and today I'm going to be uh, talking about Chelsea and what they can do next season. Let us get into it straight together. To win the Premier League or the Champions League, you really need a functional team, and in this I mean you need to have a good goalkeeper, a consistent one. You need to have good a good defense. You can't doubt that. Last season, Liverpool were the second best defensive team in the Premier League. You need to have a functional midfield. They maybe have that. You need to have good wingers that are going to supplement your off-field, your forwards, your strikers. Do some assists and even score some goals. And you need to have clinical and consistent strikers. Does Chelsea have that? Let's dive into that. Robert Sanchez looked good on that day. He was one of the man of the matches besides Cole Palmer. He pulled out some wonderful saves. He looked very different from the player he has been since arriving at Chelsea. And can he keep that? Can he take that to the Premier League? Can he show the kind of performance he showed against PSG throughout a 38 Premier League game run? We wait and see that. Of course, Chelsea have already sold Kepa to Arsenal, Martinelli to Manchester City, and George Petrovic is set to join Bournemouth, and Mike Penders is rumored to be joining Strasbourg on loan. So Chelsea apparently will remain the same two goalkeepers they had last season in Robert Sanchez and Philip Jensen plus Slonina. At the moment, that's what they have. Can Robert Sanchez replicate what he did yesterday throughout the season, or Chelsea are going to go in back for someone like Michael Mingo or someone else? Let's wait and see that. And then the fullbacks, look at the left back, Marco Cucurella. He has been brilliant for the last 12 months, winning the Euro with the Spain national team and looking good throughout the Premier League season. I think Moses Caicedo won the Premier League, Chelsea's Premier League Player of the Year, but Marco Cucurella was second there and maybe comparable to Cole Palmer. So Cucurella is good, but he needs a cover. When he wasn't available for a few games, Malo Gusto would play there, and Chelsea didn't win any of the games where Malo Gusto played in Marco Cucurella's role. So Chelsea needs a cover. Last season they were using Renato Vega there, but Vega said I would want to play more as a centre back, and he forced a loan to Juventus. He's now back, but Chelsea have to think for that role. And then right back, I think we are sorted there. The only question you can ask yourself, will us be able to give both Reece James and Malo Gusto enough playing time next season? Of course, the answer can be yes, given that Reece James is injury prone and the manager is trying to manage his playing time, and we are going to be playing both the Premier League and the Champions League, which the player will value. If I'm used in the Premier League or the Champions League, it's okay. So I think we are good in that right back role. Of course, Gusto is linked with a move away from Chelsea with Bayern Munich interested, but that cannot scare us. We can keep him, I know. And then our centre-back pairing, we have seen Trevor Chalobah and Levi Colwill looking really solid through the tournament. If they were able to lock the likes of Ousmane Dembele, Kvaratskhelia and Zade, plus their midfield in Fabian Ruiz without scoring a goal, they are becoming what we need. They just need to do even better. Plus, if our midfield improves, we are also going to improve with the time. Going to the midfield, no words for Caicedo. I'm not going to waste time there. But when it comes to a partnering, like yesterday when we needed to have a second defensive defender, holding defender, we had to pull Reece James into the midfield. Suppose we arrive at a situation where James is not available, so we will need to keep Romeo Lavia fit, or as the time goes on, we have to give enough playing time to Andre Santos to allow him to develop, and I think this will be great for us with the time. So with our holding midfielders, I think we are good, given that James Augusto can be used there, or Cucurella joining them sometime. I think we are good. And then Enzo Fernandez, no words. Hopefully he keeps fit throughout the season. And then our number 10 role, we have Cole Palmer. Yesterday for games where we need to be a bit more defensive or rough in the midfield, normally he plays on the wing like it was against PSG, so it worked out. And then our wingers, last season we had mainly Madueke, Sancho, and Pedro Neto. They didn't really supplement the forwards so well in terms of goal scoring or even assists, but Pedro Neto has looked revived. Madueke is joining Arsenal and Sancho returned to Manchester United, but good news, we have seen Jamie Gittens alive, and the man who was very good in the tournament, Estavo Willian, will also be arriving. So I think even our wingers are really good enough. Maybe we can get one more, a more experienced one, but we are good with what we have. And then when it goes to our forward, we signed Liam Delap for £30 million. He had an assist in his first game and he scored a goal, I think, in his third appearance. So we were like, we've got it, but all of a sudden, João Pedro arrived and it looks different. He is more clinical than any of either Nicholas Jackson or João Pedro. If you look at the gap between Nicholas Jackson and Liam Delap, and then the gap between Nicholas Jackson and Liam Delap, you can see that João Pedro is a bit miles better than these two. Delap can force shots. His runs are good, he's strong, but he hasn't been that clinical like João Pedro has been. He doesn't even need a chance. Some of the goals he's scoring are not clear chances. His runs, you saw how he linked up with Cole Palmer last season. Cole Palmer, when his performance dropped, you saw that his expected assist didn't drop, but the real assists dropped. But because Nkunku or Jackson couldn't finish. But now that João Pedro is here, I think we are good. Of course, it is rumored that Nicholas Jackson might be sold, which is most likely because he hasn't been selected in a couple of important games, and that tells you exactly what might happen. And then we will also need the squad depth. We will need depth, and I think we have that. If we have Jorgensen as a cover for Sanchez and maybe one more goalkeeper, probably we had some under 23 goalkeeper who was really good, but also Gabriel Sironina is back. We can see what the body will decide to do. Normally, the third choice goalkeeper should be an experienced player who won't be pushing so much for the minutes. So I hope that gets resolved. And then on the left back, we need cover there. The right back, we are good. We have James Gusto. Fofana can play there if available. and then also Joshua Chempong. And then defensive pairing, Colwill and Chaloba looks the one starting. We signed Mamadou Sarr. There is Fofana. Badiashile, I think, will be leaving. And Tosin is also there. He has had a couple of good performances. I think he even won the man of the match performance against was it ES Tunis? And then in the midfield, yes, we have enough depth. Sometimes James is used there, Augusto, and we have Caicedo, Enzo, and Palma who start there. But there is also Andre Santos, Kenan Dewsbury, all, and Dario Esugo. So depth is there in the midfield. And then when you go to the wing roles, Jamie Gitten is on the left. We said João Pedro can also play there. Cole Palmer and Estavo on the right. Nkunku is also available to be used either as a 10 or as a left winger. And then up front we have Jackson, Liam Delap, and João Pedro. So in terms of squad depth, we are also good. And then the attitude of the manager. Last season we were second, I think, before the New Year's Eve, and the manager always insisted we are not ready to compete, and that reflected in our games that came after those statements. We started to lose games, and I think this season I hope the statement from the manager will be different. And then when we talk about the possible sales, yeah, a lot of players might still leave. Like I said, Petrovic is joining Bournemouth. Maybe Penders replace him on loan at Strasbourg, so that position might have some sales. Also, for the right back role, Malo Gusto is linked with a move to Bayern Munich. You never know what the management might choose to do. Maybe if they offer enough, you don't know what will happen. But at least if they stay, maybe we should consider loaning out Joshua Archempong. We shouldn't keep players to sit on the bench for the whole season. And then the likes of Renato Vega, I think Badiashile, João Felix, Christopher Nkunku, and Nicholas Jackson could depart within maybe the next month. And then could there be more possible arrivals? You can't rule out the possibility of signing a new goalkeeper. Marco Cucurella needs cover. I think we are good in the midfield. If I was the midfield looks sorted. Who else? Where else can we strengthen? I think we can get another winger. Kudus already joined the Spurs, so he's not available. But we wait and see what the management and the board will choose to do. Of course, we could sign more and even more young talents that could allow us to earn some money while they are sold, or for the few that will be able to really shine so brighter, they could join the team. So thank you for watching. Consider subscribing and hitting that like button. See you in the next video.